Labour are setting their stall out, well and truly setting their stall out, I think, at this Labour Party conference. I'm not going to be covering Keir Starmer's speech, which is happening today at any point in the future, because he's so bad at communicating and so awful, and just lies continually and just gaslights everyone. Not that they all don't gaslight, but you understand what I'm saying there, that it's just pointless covering anything that the man says. But I think from the perspective of how Labour are setting their stall out is very, very dangerous. Now, at the weekend, Keir Starmer, and I have done that video about reformer racists, etc. Keir Starmer made a mistake, I think, in bringing that out. And you saw when he was doing it, he was a little bit uncomfortable. Should I have said that, perhaps? But he said it. So it's tough. And what's happened is his main front benchers, the big guns in the party here, your Shabana Mahmood, Rachel Reeves, David Lammy, and all the rest of them, Yvette Cooper, they came out with extremely aggressive rhetoric. And when I say extremely aggressive, I mean dangerous, actually. Rachel Reeves strayed off the reservation a little bit. And I'll play the clip for you, but I was shocked at what Rachel Reeves said. Never mind Lammy and Mahmood's speech talking, about racist tropes in the 1970s and 80s, using the P word, as it's been called in media. I'm not going to utter those words on here, but it's the abbreviation for the Pakistani community that was used by racists last century. Yvette Cooper with your plastic patriot, all of these things are extremely dangerous. They are dangerous, and this is dangerous because, in effect, what this is going to lead to is political violence. And so anyway, here's a montage of these four clowns on here. And I'm going to call them clowns. They're obviously intelligent people, and they're obviously people in their own right, but I can only put the moniker of clown onto these people for what they're doing. Dangerous. Very dangerous.
Remember everything that is at stake here. The single greatest threat to our way of life and to the living standards of working people is the agenda of Nigel Farage and the Reform Party. Whatever falsehoods they push, whatever easy answers they peddle, however willing they are to tear communities and families apart, they are not on the side of working people.
I was reminded of that fact just days into this job. On the 13th of September, 150,000 people marched through London. They did so under the banner of a convicted criminal and a former BNP member. While not everyone was violent, some were. 26 police officers were injured as they tried to keep the peace. And while not everyone chanted racist slogans, some did. Clear that in their view of this country, I have no place. It would be easy to dismiss this as nothing but an angry minority, heirs to the skinheads and the Paki bashers of old.
But there is a choice between a Labour foreign policy rooted in our belief that strength at home depends on our partnerships abroad, and whatever chaotic right-wing ideology we end up facing at the next election, with politicians who are happy for us to surrender our national interests or slide into isolation. Because while we are standing up to Putin, Nigel Farage calls him the leader he most admires. While we are strengthening the NATO alliance, they trot out Russian propaganda claiming NATO caused the war. And while we opened our hearts and our homes to Ukrainian children, their policy is to turn them away. While we do new trade deals underpinned by international law, they want to rip up those rules and lose the jobs and investment we need. And while we work together to renew Britain, they tour the world seeking every opportunity to run our country down. Because unlike the plastic patriots in reform, we in Labour are proud to be British, proud of our values, and we know what our flag really means.
The other person who doesn't get it, of course, is Nigel Farage. He wraps himself in our flag, but his policies don't match British values. We must call his scheme to round up and deport our French, our Indian, our Caribbean neighbours who already have indefinite leave to remain what it is. It is racist. I say not in our country, not in our name, not in our time.
And one final video to add on top of that, which I thought was interesting, which gives you the business end here. It's all very well for these mouthpieces to just talk rubbish and, dangerous politics at the Labour conference, but this gives you a slice of how the actual frontline MPs are trying to come to terms with this, because they are going to go back and face their constituents themselves. And this was a brilliant interview, I thought, by Martin Daubney from GB News, because he's just asked him, what exactly is going on with this? Can you tell me what it is? And just listen to this absolute tripe and word salad comes out of this Labour politician's mouth.
Peter Swallow, what is ethno-nationalism?
So, look, I am really proud to be a Labour MP, a party that has always been about making our country better.
I'm sure you are. What is ethno-nationalism?
There is a real contrast between that and policies that are built around a narrow view of who can contribute to this country and who has value. And I'm proud that Shabana Mahmood set out that distinction today. I think it's really important, because ultimately this is the choice facing the country. Do we have bold, ambitious plans to renew the state, or do we seek a politics of division?
Peter Swallow, I have to press you for an answer on a basic question. Your Home Secretary today said that patriotism is slipping into ethno-nationalism. What is ethno-nationalism?
Well, look, for those who in this country would suggest that only one community has value, has worth, can contribute to our country, I say to them that is ethno-nationalism, and that is wrong. My patriotism is built on an idea.
I don't think anybody. I don't think Reform UK are saying that. I don't think the Conservatives are saying that. If you're going to say that something is slipping into ethno-nationalism, and she even echoed the skinheads and the pea bashers, I won't even say that word, of yesteryear. It's one of the darkest chapters in British social history. It's been exhumed again today. I put it to you: is it helpful to maintain that British patriots who went on a march in London are being compared to the skinheads and the pea bashers of yesteryear?
Look, on that march, a lot of people use their democratic, their British right to express their freedom of speech, and I respect that. I think that's really important. We also saw, unfortunately, police be attacked. We saw public urination. We saw a lot of people be intimidated by violent language, and we saw Elon Musk, beam himself in and call for revolution. That is something fundamentally different, and I think we do need to be alert to the fact that there is a real challenge in this country to rise up against hate and division and set out a bold, positive vision for this country.
Yeah, good word salad there. Didn't know what to say, because what's happened, the Prime Minister and the front benchers have went out, mouthed off to the Labour conference, and now the rank and file Labour MPs are going to have to go out and justify this garbage to people, and they realise the job that they've got on their hands, because the truth is, and this is only my view, I believe a majority of the people of this country have had about enough of this rubbish that's coming out from this government, ruining our economy, bringing in hundreds of thousands of people every year that no one wants to pay for. And this is how Labour are attacking this problem. And I have two issues with this. The first one, one good, one bad. I'll start off with the bad because that is really what worries me the most. It's as if these Labour MPs have learned nothing from what happened in America. They've learned nothing from the Democrats' rhetoric over the last few years whatsoever. 2 attempts on Donald Trump's life, Charlie Kirk, there's been other, I believe, Congress people shot, which we don't often get a lot of that news because of this rhetoric. And, as Rachel Reeves said, a threat to our way of life. What's she talking about? What is she on about? And these politicians here, when something does happen, because something is going to happen, they keep talking like this, and they keep telling normal everyday people that these people over here, you see these reform people, they're a threat to your way of life, and they're wanting to tear your country apart, and they're in bed with Vladimir Putin, didn't you know, and all of that, and we really need to be in a fight for our lives, for the soul of this very country. We are in a fight for our existence. Well, guess what's going to happen? There's going to be one person or 2 people or a few people who get something into their heads and go and do something really stupid. We already saw the milkshake with Nigel Farage and people throwing bricks at him on a bus when TV cameras were present. And so what do you think is going to happen in the future? This is very, very crude, crass, low-grade, dangerous rhetoric coming from Labour. If they think that this is going to get them out of the hole, they are drawing a dividing line, but unfortunately, there's less people in their camp, and very, very dangerous thing to do. But of course, the positive to all this, if we can take a silver lining before I exit this video, is that everyone can see through this. You saw the interview there with Martin Daubney, just saying to him, why are you exhuming this garbage, which is, 20th century, stuff that went on? What are you doing? And they have no answer. And the normal men and women who looked at that march and thought, look at all those people there. I kind of believe what they believe. I'm sick and tired of what's going on. To be branded as a racist and a bigot and, lowlife, which is, scumbags is really how it's being positioned, is a catastrophic error. And, we shouldn't be too surprised because this Labour Party is rubbish at politics. And so what do they do at the party convention? They come out, at their conference, they come out and they make huge political errors. They've made a massive miscalculation here. If anything, this is going to strengthen support for reform. And, going forward, just every day that goes by, never mind Starmer and his donkey field. I mean, these stories, there's almost too many corruption stories for me to keep up with. And so, all of these catastrophic errors that Labour keep making, it's just time after time after time. And, they're going to pay the price. But, we can take that silver lining. But on one level, extremely worrying, this rhetoric. I mean, this isn't going to go anywhere good. And I think everyone understands that. Thanks very much for your time.